Hey everybody, Tyler Parsons again with ParsonsGolfPerformance.com. Today we're going to be looking at the hips yet again. And the reason that I'm stressing this and we're going over so many different things for the hips is it's a huge reoccurring problem for a lot of golfers. And you can already tell, and you know this, as we go to turn and we're trying to make this big turn, everybody wants to talk about the thoracic spine, which is extremely important. But we've got to be able to turn the hips as well. So any limitations in this area is really going to limit what we can do in the swing. Okay? So all the internal rotation is with this leg. As I turn my toe in, that's internally rotating on that hip. So we can see it in the backswing, really having to turn, internally rotate. Okay? So I'm going to use myself for an example on this one. And you'll be able to see this as you go through and watch the long drive training log that I'm doing. If you haven't seen it, be sure to go over and check that out. But one thing that I'm working on in my swing as well as in the gym is as I go on my driver to load, I would love to get to this position, okay? I'm a little bit tight on the hip, especially in that internal. So what happens is I go back, I want to bend and break down. That takes a little bit of tension off, makes it a little bit easier. However, it's messing with my pressure trace, okay? We know that we want the best hitters out on tour load that pressure trace over onto that trail leg as much as 80 and 90% depending on the club as well as the golfer. So you can see really over here. By mine breaking down, it shifts. It's causing me to over-rotate the hips a little bit. I'm ruining that stretch shorten cycle that we're looking for that elastic power. Okay? So extremely important that we hammer out those hips, get them working correctly. So one of the real simple things we can do is we can just grab a weight, get down to that posture, and really try and help us turn into that side, okay? You just have to really be aware of what you're doing, watch in a mirror, making sure that's not breaking down, getting to here, nice, post it up, really turn. You'll start to feel a lot of tightness depending on which muscle is tight in that internal. One thing that we can do as well, you can do this on the ground or to here, but go down and we can do this piriformis stretch, and I like to grab and pull that up and over. So again, starting to work in through those muscles. Now, my favorite one to do are hip drops. And again, this is one that you really have to pay attention to what you're doing. If you're just going through the motion, we're not going to get a big stretch. But what I'll do is I'll lay back, my heels are outside of my shoulders, and I want to drop this leg and knee down to the ground, pushing the best I can, but this butt on this right side right here, on that trail leg, needs to stay on the ground. So as I turn, I don't want my hips opening up to here, but instead pushing against it and trying to drive that leg down, push, push, push. You can play around with how far out the leg is from you as well, okay? So I'm gonna run through that again from here so you can see a little bit better. This is the hip that I have to keep down on the ground, pushing this way down towards as much as I can while that knee drops up and over to the other side. Now, another reason that I like that exercise so much for everyone is if you were tight externally, this direction as well, and that's going to be basically as we turn back this leg, that stretch is going to work internal and external. Again, we just have to push both legs down. Now, I'm not limited with my external, so I don't even have to worry about pushing it down as far, but something to keep in mind and for you to do, okay? So that's one of those things. Get onto it. I love to do it every day. Again, you're going to see it in my log. I'm really going to be stretching out into the hips because they're so important for an everyday golfer as well as those looking to pick up speed. I mean, the hips are going to connect. They're what's going to help us drive and do everything properly. So any limitations in there are going to mess up everything else. Start stretching out those hips with the internal rotation. Check back often. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and let me know any suggestions that you all have on anything that you would like to see.